Hi, very good morning to you all, and I welcome you all to Lanka Property Show 2021 Virtual Conference Session 2. It was a very successful session yesterday, talking with experienced entrepreneurs and how they could advise the realtors in Sri Lanka and overseas. So today's session is on paving the way to real estate investments in Sri Lanka. Hope this would be very interesting topic, especially for all locals and foreign Sri Lankans and foreign investors who are joining with us today. Tarindu?
Uh, yes, Sisuru. As you said, we just concluded a wonderful session yesterday for our realtors and who are willing to be realtors. And today we're going to talk about how to do your real estate investment in Sri Lanka, and and especially Isuru, we should not forget that the best part of your investment is checking your title and knowing that you are buying the real asset. So. To begin with that, we have Mr. Saminda Jayasekara, a veteran legal practitioner who is counting for more than 2 decades of experience, and currently he serves as a member of Condominium Law Review Committee appointed by the Ministry of Justice, and he is the chairman of Colombo Project Consultants Private Limited. He has held many director legal positions in many in real estate conglomerates of the country. And over to you, Mr. Saminder.
Thank you, Tarindu. Today, we are talking about the legal aspect to take care of investing in Sri Lanka, especially in real estate market. So basically, that first we are think about why are we investing in Sri Lanka? What are the benefits and advantages that we can take from investing in Sri Lanka? The first thing is that they say that we have to think about two ways. That the one, what's the investment perspective? What are the benefits we can get from investing in Sri Lanka in real estate? The first is that in Sri Lankan property market, the average annual appreciation is around 10% per annum. So when you are comparing with you are investing in fixed deposit or in some capital market or somewhere that you get this kind of capital appreciation in any other thing other than real estate in Sri Lanka. That is why that more people are keen about investing in Sri Lanka. And the other thing is that they say that you have to compare the rental income. Basically, if you get the average rental income per annum, it is between 5% to 6% of your total investment. It means basically in after 5 at the average appreciation of 10% and the average rental yield of 5%, then you will cover the cost of your apartment or your real estate investment in Sri Lanka. And other thing is that the most investment friendly matter that you can consider is it's a very much user friendly process in purchasing properties. And there's a only tax in Sri Lanka for purchase of property, that is 4% of stamp duty. The beauty of that is the law applicable to Sri Lankan as well as foreigners are same. It means that foreigner that purchasing a property, they are paying only 4% of stamp duty, and Sri Lankan, the payment of 4%, that's the only tax that you are liable to pay, right? And then the usage perspective that you are thinking of, consider, say that if you are thinking of that your second home or holiday home or whatever thing, say holiday homes, the special thing is that while you can buy a property in Sri Lanka for holiday home, then you can use as a holiday during your holidays. We'll say if you are living in the winter, that during your winter period that you can come and stay here, and few months in autumn and spring also. Then while you are enjoying your summer in your mother country, you can rent it out your apartment or your invested property in Sri Lanka to some other party. So there are plenty of brokers, agents, and people in Sri Lanka to arrange that business. And while you are away, you can earn some income from your property, as well as that you have your own property. Then while you are in winter in your country, that you can come and enjoy during that period also. Then if you are thinking of permanent living in Sri Lanka, that also possible. Now the government's preparing a new scheme for that matter, and in next couple of months it will be completed, that the say legislative process is following now for that thing. Basically end of this year, that anybody purchasing a condominium property in Sri Lanka, that any foreigner will get 5-year multiple entry visa, which is extendable. And other thing is the retirement. That is called, there's a special scheme called My Dream Home in Sri Lanka. So if you can spend 1,500 US dollars per month for a main occupant and 750 US dollar per dependent for as living expenses in Sri Lanka, then you can permanently retire in this country. That you can visit the Department of Immigration website also to get some details of that. Then when you are investing in some other country, especially you have to think about the other social and geo factors which are affecting to your investment as well as your future. The main concern is that as you know, that Sri Lanka is a former British colony, that because of that and the many other reasons, that the Sri Lankan literary race is more than 95%, that best in the South Asia, and the majority of the country, that you can say around at least around 50%, they can very well speak and understand English. And the many tourist attracted places, that they say some European language such as German and French, that they can speak well. That will be added qualification, that whoever come into Sri Lanka, whoever invest in Sri Lanka. And in other way, that say you can see the living conditions and the living style of Sri Lankans. Basically, Sri Lanka is a country that who's providing free health services and free education for entire population. This is that say that survey said that this is the best in Asia, other than the richest country like Japan and Australia. Say that for foreigners also, it's very easy access to health services and education. Not like in Europe, within a few hours you can reach one of the specialist doctor in Sri Lanka. And there are plenty of foreign education institutes, international schools in Sri Lanka. Not only English speaking, there are schools that who taught German, French, Chinese, and many other languages also. Then it's a tropical, sunny, nice weather that throughout the year, that you can enjoy the beaches, forest, nature, everything in this. And other thing is that, say, comparing to the other countries in the region, that you can see there are extremist religious and racist groups that who's forcing to follow their traditions and rules and practice, that whoever come in there and whoever visit there. But Sri Lanka is more or less a liberal country, so you can enjoy your visit without any issue, without any trouble making from the locals. Then the Sri Lankan crime rate also very much low, that you can go, you can check in websites and you can go your own homework for checking that thing. And the lifestyle, it's a say that you are that when you are going to some popular tourist destination during a tourist period, that you might think that you are living in, or you are in Europe. Okay, that kind of atmosphere you can get in Sri Lanka in tourist attracted places, as well as condominium luxury complexes in Sri Lanka. So they say you can think that in the condominiums also you are living in a developed country. Then we are thinking and we are talking about the legal background of real estate in Sri Lanka. Say, according to the laws of Sri Lanka, foreigners can outright purchase condominiums. Say that it means that if you elaborate, there's a act passed in 2014, it's called Land Restrictions of Alienation Act. According to that act, foreigners cannot purchase any property in Sri Lanka. But however, there's an exception for foreigners. That is that you can buy condominiums which is situated 4th floor and above. There's only one condition you have to fulfill, that if you are a foreigner, that you are thinking of buying a condominium in Sri Lanka, the entire money that which you are going to spend for that property have to bring from outside of the country. It means that that Sri Lankan government expecting foreign investment, foreign exchange coming to the country. That's the only condition you have to fulfill, that if you are purchasing a property. Another beautiful thing happened in 2017, that the foreigners until 2017, if you're a foreigner, that you had have bought an apartment only 4th floor and above. In 2017, that was abolished. Now, any floor in any condominium, maybe it's a condominium situation in a vertical or horizontal way, that any foreigner can purchase any condominium unit in the country. Then if you are, then that say that we know basically that if you are talking about the real estate and properties in this country, say that for foreigner, that you can buy only apartment condominium unit only in Sri Lanka. Say that you have to do a legal due diligence before making this purchase. Basically, there are two areas you have to think, and you have to go through the documents. That is very, very important. First thing is the title of the property. Basically, title means in the that you will get that we will latter part of this discussion, that we are elaborating our knowledge of what is the deed of transfer. When you are checking the title, that say you have that will say that we are living in Colombo. There is a land registry in Colombo. In the entire area, all properties, all lands, all condominiums, each and every property registered in the land registry. So if you are checking for buy a property, first thing is you have to do a title checking in the land registry, and you or your lawyer must satisfy whether that property, that condominium, has a very clear title. Especially we have to check whether developer or some other person mortgage the property or any other lien or by the bank or any other person over that property. How about, and have to check the clear title, clear ownership of the property also. That is one aspect. The other aspect is you have to check whether they have taken the developer or the vendor taken the regulatory approvals for the property. In Sri Lanka, that as a practice, that most of time that the developers in the condominium developments, they are selling apartments while it's under construction. If it is under construction, that you have to especially check whether they have already obtained the development permit from the Urban Development Authority of the country or relevant local government authority. Development permit is the document that they are first checking the availability, say that the suitability of the property to build a condominium complex. Then they are asking few clearances from various institutes, including Central Environment Authority, then the garbage disposal, traffic planning, water and electricity availability, and many other few other institutes that basically which are always need to check the approval for these kind of projects. Only after checking all those approvals and the clearances, the relevant Urban Development Authority or local authority granting the approval for development of the property. That the approval called development permit. You have to have checking whether this developer have the development permit. Then if you are purchasing a completed property, then say after the developer obtaining the development permit, they have to complete the building according to the approved building plan approved by earlier as mentioned urban development authority or local authority. Then after completion of the building, the developer has to apply for certificate of conformity. That means basically that the same authority giving a certificate of conformity stating that this building completed as per the approved building plans and authorized building guidelines. Then thereafter that the developer has to make a condominium plan and have to submit to the condominium management authority, which is the regulator of this area in Sri Lanka, so which is governing condominiums while construction and after the construction also. After that, you are getting the condominium plan approval. The notary of the developer has to prepare condominium declaration deed and have to register the same in the relevant district land registry. Thereafter, only for each and every condominium unit, you are getting a separate page in the relevant land registry. Then only you can get your title from the developer. Right. Then we have to consider how do we make payments to purchase a property. That firstly, you have to identify and select the property. Say for that you can get the help. Either you can do your own due diligence and your own research in the websites and through various sources, or you can get the help from a real estate agent or proper marketeer in the field, because there are plenty of people that you might get help. Then you have to negotiate the price as well as the installment plan for paying. That also, that whoever that your property agent definitely will help you at this moment. Then there's a special thing you have to do, that if you're a foreigner, you cannot take money as you wish. You have to open a special account. It's called inward investment account. In shorter form, we are saying IIA in a Sri Lankan licensed commercial bank. It is not a very big task or very difficult task. Say that if you tell that you are a real estate agent or developer, you have already decided to purchase this property and you need to open this account and you need purchase this property in the proper legal way, then they will facilitate you to open this account. For that, especially I have to mention that you no need to come to Sri Lanka, open this account. Then thereafter you have to send the money to your inward investment account. From your inward investment account, that as per the payment plan which you agreed with the developer, if it's a development under construction, or if it is a completed project, maybe the developer or some other person that was the vendor, and then you have to pay from your inward investment account. So thereafter, that the normal practice is that if it is on the installment basis, then the last installment, or it's the one-off payment at the payment, then the developer or the vendor have to execute the valid deed of transfer for the property in favor of you, as well as they have to hand over the possession of the property to you. Then deed of transfer, that we have to talk about the deed of transfer also. Deed of transfer in Sri Lanka, that is the document you are getting the ownership of the property. Basically, you have to, as per the notary's ordinance of Sri Lanka, you have to have a Sri Lankan notary to handle those aspects, that it is not Sri Lankan law not allowed to any foreign professional legal person to attend those matters. Say that if you check a deed of transfer which you are getting, there are few elements that you have to talk. It mention first what is the deed number, date, and the name of the notary. Then details of the vendor or maybe the developer, that what is the, if it's a company name, registration number, then the registered address. If it's an individual, his full name, it's a national identity card or passport number, and the address, those details are there. Then the details of yours also, the purchasers also, that what's the nationality of the purchaser, that the passport number of the purchaser, address of the purchaser, full name, those details are mentioned. Then we are talking about that, especially by foreigners, that then if it is a condominium, then the proper description of the condominium is coming in the deed of transfer. That what's the unit number, that the area, that is square area, that how many square foot or square meters you are getting from that property, then how many bedrooms, how many toilets, how many pantries, how many balconies, those things, and then what are the boundaries, and especially what are the common elements you are getting, the common rights that and enjoying with other apartment owners. Then especially that it mentioned the consideration of the purchase price, and that's the within the document it mentioned that this vendor acknowledged, then you have paid the entire consideration for this property. And that we mentioned earlier, and we talk about the land registries. In land registry, and there will be volumes, there will be folios open for each and every unit. Then that this deed mentioned where your deed is registering, and once that the submitted for registration, that the where you mention in that deed, it will be registered in that, and that you will get a seal in the deed, say stating that this deed is registered in relevant volume and folio. And that we earlier discussed about the stamp duty. At the time of deed of transfer only you have to pay stamp duty. Have to especially remember that when you are making down payment and signing a sale agreement for down payment, you no need to pay any cent to the government of Sri Lanka. Only at the time of deed of transfer you have to pay this amount, right? Okay, then we have talked about that already. We have discussed how we are purchasing the property. Now this other way, say you decided to invest in Sri Lanka, say that then you purchase the property, you enjoy the property, or you rented out the property, then you think about how you sell your property. That also a very simple way, basically, that you have to find a buyer, again that your real estate agent or whoever, that you can get support, or you can do your on selling also through websites or any other source. Okay, then if you are entering into some payment plan, then you have to prepare a sale agreement through a notary and enter into sale agreement with the new buyer. Or if it is not, then directly that he is paying the entire amount for the property, then you have to ask him to prepare the deed of transfer, and during at the time of the deed of transfer, that you will get entire money. Then basically, like you paid in Sri Lanka for this purchasing of the property, for selling of the property also, that your entire amount you have to deposit in your inward investment account. There are at the time of selling your property, you have to inform your bank, here I am going to sell this property, and I am depositing my money in this property. And if needed, if you are thinking this is enough, that I'll get my money as well as profit and tata bye bye, I am going back to my country, then that thing also you have to tell your bank that I won't send this money back to my country where it came from. Or other way, that if you can think about that, with the money made from your this investment, you can think about another investment in Sri Lanka. Then from that money, that you can purchase another property in Sri Lanka. Then say that you have to think about another fact also. There's only one tax applicable for sale of property, that is capital gain tax. Basically, capital gain tax is 10% of the net profit. Net profit means, say that your gross profit is, that simply you can say that you purchase this property, that will, for example, we'll say you a property for 30 million Sri Lankan rupees, and you are selling for 35 million Sri Lankan rupees, then you are making a net profit of 5 million, right? Then the deductions that you can make from that, basically your deductions are that the various that the whatever the commission you are paying for agent, then if you're advertising, the whatever the advertising expenses during the ownership of the period, if you did any modification or repairs or something for those expenses, then any other justifiable expenses which you can say, all those things you can deduct from the whatever the profit you have earned from this transaction. Thereafter, say whatever the net profit you are getting from that, you have to pay 10% of the net profit to the government of Sri Lanka. And please remember that this is a final tax, that once you pay this 10% capital gain tax, then you no need to mention or you need to pay from at the time of you are filing your annual tax return, and there is no annual tax liability on the properties which you have already paid capital gain tax. Then the next thing is, say you are thinking of purchasing a property in Sri Lanka, that you like to do that, but do you have to really be in Sri Lanka? Actually, the simple answer is no. Say that your agent or your developer can do everything while you are away. Say that basically that open an IA account, that execute a sale agreement, whatever the paying installment and the executing the deed of transfer. For those things while you are away you can do, but the certain things you have to have a power of attorney hold in Sri Lanka, especially at the time of taking over the property from the developer and the making some payments. Or if you are selling the property, definitely you have to have a power of attorney hold. For your security on that point, you can have to have a special power of attorney only for the purpose mentioned in the power of attorney. It means if it is only for purchasing the property, that you can mention this power of attorney holder has a right only to purchase this property. If it is only for selling the property, this power of attorney holder have the right only for selling the property, and that even yet you can mention that he can sell the property, but he has to deposit money in my IIA account. That is how that the way that even you are not in the not in Sri Lanka, how you can sell or buy this property. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Aminda. There are a few questions we have received. Actually, we will go through first come first serve basis as time permits. So the first question is from Mr. Shanmuganathan, and he's asking, I'm a Sri Lankan born US citizen and do not have a dual citizenship. What is the best way to purchase a house in Sri Lanka?
Actually, by law, you cannot buy a house in Sri Lanka. Say then that if you are thinking of having a property in Sri Lanka, best thing is buying an apartment. Okay, that's the only option. But maybe there are complexes that if you are thinking of housing, there are cluster houses that they say that it's as a condominium developed. That basically the definition of the condominium that you are sharing one or few boundaries. Okay, there are houses that adjoining houses which are registered in as condominiums also, that you can buy that one, or easily you can go for a condominium apartment. Or there's another way that if you're living, that your parents or your brothers that they are living in Sri Lanka, say that they can buy, and that later either they can gift it or that you can inherit from your relations in Sri Lanka. But in if you are talking about the law, houses or lands that they say that separated houses or lands you can't buy. That's the answer.
Okay. The next question is from Mr. Andrew, that he's asking. That's a long question. I'll make it short. And what he's asking is, they have sold a property which was transferred by gift deed by their father, and that property was owned by two of his brothers and himself. So what he's asking, whether they need to pay a capital gain tax of 10%.
Okay, there are two things that you have to consider. Say that if I am inherited the property from my parents for my living, that if you have a property of that kind, then you can sell that property, and for that property you no need to pay capital gain tax. In this case, maybe their parents that own the all three siblings, or that they got the only property their parents had, and they gave as gift, and they all sold. In that scenario, no need to pay capital gain tax. But the thing is, they will say that their parents is a very rich person, properties, and they gave 5 each to each and every kid you have. Then you are not exempt from capital gain tax for each and every property. Say if you have a property, one property which you got from your parents, they gifted you to build a house, so that they gifted the completed house. When you are selling that property, that is exempt. May in this case probably they are exempt, right?
Yes. Ms. Amit, there's one more question. We'll go for that also. Like that Mr. Asiri Vaninayaka, he's asking, I'm living in Australia and I bought an apartment in 2019 without COC. And the developer is yet in the process of getting the approval. So, and he's asking, can I sell the property without COC?
No, actually, that first thing is that his wording is incorrect. That maybe he reserved the property and not purchased the property, because that without condominium, that COC, you can't get the condominium management authority approval, and then you can't register a condominium declaration deed at the land registry. Then only you will get the proper ownership of the property. Maybe he made in full and he entered into a sale agreement, and the sale agreement also mentioned that he's paid in full. Actually, that he can do one thing, that if you want sell it that property, he can assign all the rights what he got from the developer to some other person. That he has the liberty to do that. No restriction from any law of the country. You can actually, that is a good question, Taridu. Say in because there are many people even in Sri Lanka, they are buying condominiums as an investment, not for living, not for renting. That they buying at the beginning of the project, and while under construction, no, after completion of the construction, they are selling to some other person. Say any time that you can sell that property to some person. In that context, that you have to that through your lawyer, or even that by yourself, you can check the draft sale agreement what the developer is giving to you, whether he is allowing you to sell that property at the time that when you think now it's a good time. That because that you have to have, if it's not there, you have to have asked from the developer and include that clause also in your sale agreement. Say if it is a completed property, got the COC and transferred the title to you, then no issue at all. No need to ask from anybody to sell your property. But the thing is that if it is under sale agreement, then you are assigning your rights to somebody else, that you can take back your entire investment and profit also. But at that point, because of the title is not transferred, you have to get the consent of the developer also. That is the difference between selling a property or signing a property before getting COC and after getting COC and the condominium declaration.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Aminder, for clearing so many doubts we had in legal aspects to take care of investing in Sri Lankan real estate. And we wish you well. And there are a few more questions, and due to time constraint, we will not entertain further. What we will do is we will send them to Mrs. Aminda, and he will be answering them in person. Thank you so much, Mrs. Aminda, for your time.
Thank you, Tarindu, for the opportunity given to me. Thank you very much.
Well, Taru, thank you. And I would like to thank Ms. Samind again for devoting his time to explain how the legal structure works and what to check when you are buying and investing in a property. So before we go to the next session, I would like, there are a few messages from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.